Hi.
Hi.
Let's pretend we don't know each other.
Okay.
So, who are you?
I am Julia. I am the founder of Voices of Ukraine. It is an Instagram project and it is meant to help Ukraine have a voice in the countries of the West, to be heard and get support it needs to withstand this horrible Russian invasion.
So, when did you start Voices of Ukraine?
I started it, I would say, in the second week of the war, and originally it was intended as a platform where people who might, Russian people who might have their doubts about authenticity of news coverage would be able to see messages of real Ukrainians under attack to hopefully get a different perspective.
So, your first intention was to fight Russian propaganda by showing your stories. What were the first stories? How did you start? What people did you feature?
I'm from Kiev and my family is there, my friends and classmates, so it was not hard to find first videos. However, my father, who stayed and chose to stay in Kiev despite being over 60 years old, he was very reluctant to record any videos addressed to Russian people. He also didn't believe in any success, because how can any newly found project compete with decades of mass media propaganda? And I must say, within the first 3 days, we got much more similar feedback from other people and realized, okay, if there is one battle which is already lost, it is the battle for the minds of the majority of Russian population. And that's why we chose to redirect the project towards the free world, because there people still have access to real information and also they have resources to help Ukraine.
So, you're now spreading your message and you're doing that propaganda, of course, on one hand still, but on the other hand, you're also spreading useful information about different topics, sharing petitions, sharing about news. What do you wish from the community that you're building right now? What do you wish from people who see those videos?
Yes, thank you for this question. So, exactly, the mission behind Voices of Ukraine has been evolving over those few weeks, and in the beginning intention was really just to show more stories of real people who maybe have not been covered by the press. But right now I realize there are already enough messages. Every day we see photos, videos by the best newspapers, best photographers, so it is enough. What we really need is to help people who are here understand how they can be helpful, how they can help. And I know that the solidarity of people of the world is exceptional. And I am deeply grateful, and I know almost everyone is already helping with donating money, with maybe going to the demos, with helping someone to find a place to live or to get a job. So in this area, a lot of incredible work is happening, so thank you so much. Where I feel there is a big potential is a little bit different pair of shoes, and it is in helping to stop the war. Because if you take a second to think about it, helping a refugee or sending humanitarian help to Ukraine, it only helps to hinder the consequences of war. The only thing which can help stop the war, it is the decisions of our politicians, who can decide if they, for example, buy or ban Russian oil, send money to Russia or not, if they send weapons to Ukraine to help them withstand or not. So in this area, there is a lot of work which needs to be done by us, normal people, to help our politicians hear that our choice is to back Ukraine in this war to help them win. And there are different reasons why different politicians of different countries have different level of reluctancy to do what is right. That is why the task of Voices of Ukraine is to show people ways how they can be helpful. It is not about collecting followers, collecting likes, or making you depressed all day, showing you even more horror stories. It is rather to help you realize we have the power and show you where you can do a little bit of something and you can come back to your normal life, which is hopefully free, and that the sky above your head is also free, and that people of Ukraine will be able to join this happy circle very soon.
So you say economic pressure, but also helping Ukraine's military to stop the war, but at the same time, of course, also helping the refugees that come here. Now, our identities are, of course, connected to everything that is happening there right now. How do you call for solidarity of other countries? Do you see solidarity from other countries? And how do you appeal to people who are not from Ukraine?
Yes, this is a work in action. We are figuring it all out. I must say it is through sharing stories. It is through showing them why you care, why I care, and maybe they will understand and also start caring about that too. I must be honest. Before Ukraine, there have been multiple horrible wars. War in Venezuela, war in Yemen, war in Afghanistan. We all were witnessing it. We donated money 1 or 2 times. And basically that was it. So I understand that if someone right now does not have direct ties to Ukraine, it is too much to expect that this person will suddenly start and just be posting about this war every night and day. So this is normal, and I feel it is my job to share why this is something we should all care about, even if it is not really happening with us in our country, and if you do not have any direct relatives or friends in Ukraine, because it is still our war.
So at the same time, we also see, of course, that very different regions and very different countries come together right now. For example, from Poland, then Belarusian diaspora who fled from Belarus, and we have also Syrian people and activists who are right now standing against Russian imperialism, and also people from Georgia who are suffering the consequences. Have you met those people in the past days? Have you seen similarities maybe of about what is happening, and how do you tangle the issue of Russian imperialism in general? Because there are still also few Russian supporters also on this side. So how do you deal with that?
Yes, so on one side I really see overwhelming support of Georgian community. There are also a few people who support Voices of Ukraine and who are deeply caring because they have experienced firsthand what it means to be saved by the Ruski Mir, the Russian world. So they know that this Russian Mir shall be stopped, so that they have no chance to go and save anyone. And I really feel very, very worried that if the West continues to watch the events in Ukraine as some kind of Netflix show, this Squid Game or whatever, it will spill over, because the Russian propaganda machine is super powerful. It was able to generate this war amidst 21st century, and as you may only imagine or you know, this work does not stop on hate towards Ukraine. They also hate all NATO countries, and the polls show that Russian people support attacking the countries of Poland, Baltic countries. So it can come to other places and it will bring nothing good. And that's why this situation in Russia, it is really fascism of 21st century, And we now need to do everything it takes together to make sure that this will be stopped and it will have no financial, human capacity to go to any other country. So this is a unique chance. We need to learn from the past and not repeat those mistakes.
So now we have still very huge support for Ukraine and Germany. Like we saw a lot of thousands of people going out on the streets, and the majority here says, yes, we want peace for Ukraine. Yet the ways of approaching this peace are handled very differently. There is one community, mainly consisting of Ukrainians right now, who demand weapons, who demand military protection, apart from help for refugees. And then there is a new community building right now, kind of a peace movement too, who says that you should use dialogue to help to solve this war. People who are going out on the streets, also known in Eastern as pacifists, who have the right intentions of stopping the war, but what would you tell them as a person who says, please, we need military help?
I would say it is very interesting conflict or game play of narratives, because it is fine to be for peace, and you need to realize in what situation you are right now. If you are in a situation of the peace, the way to be pro-peace, right, do not engage in any military actions, do not invade, do not kill, stay in peace, and this is the way. But what do you do if there is already war? There is no way to stop the war by sitting somewhere on a side and say, I want peace. It will not stop the war. If there is war already, you must take massive action to stop the war. And to those who have not noticed, there is war already in Ukraine. Horrible genocide. Absolutely horrendous. And that is why everyone who says, I am pro-peace, I am against weapons for Ukraine, these people have very big mistake in the way how they think.
Okay, thank you so much. And I also have another question for you. Is you went viral actually a while ago because of something that happened in Berlin, that happened also in other cities, sadly, in Germany. It's been auto demonstration where people were sitting in their cars and waving with Russian flags, but not only. And you were standing right here in this apartment, in your apartment, and waving your flag. Why did you do that? How did you learn from those like car corso for Russia, and what feelings went through your mind when seeing those people?
I must say, I had no clue about that rally. I just heard a lot of sounds of the car horns, so I was curious to see what is happening. And then I saw that this is exactly this car demo full of Russian flags, and it all happened on that Sunday when the whole world was shaken by the photos of Bucha and Irpin, when Russian forces left and people could enter and see what they have left. So this was just the most horrible assault that Berlin government is allowing to celebrate the nation which is bringing such level of war crimes against humanity, and they are just like riding through the center of Berlin. And it was like, yeah, you realize, okay, what do you do? And I had a big Ukrainian flag, so it felt very, very natural that I just opened the window and I started waving them in return. Later, there was some information in the media that this march was actually not to celebrate the Bucha, but to show some signals of support for Russian people and that they are solidar. But I must say, during all the cars which I have seen, there was no one single Ukrainian flag. There was no emotion of support or solidarity or sorrow or shame, they were proud. They were full of hate. And my flag and myself, they provoked them absolutely. So I felt very grateful that I was at home at that moment and I had that flag so that I could show them the sign that even one person is a warrior, and the whole Ukraine and diaspora and community and all people who are not Ukrainians but they stand with Ukraine, they are Ukrainian allies, they are here and they are fighting till the end. That's why you will have no chance. The power of the light and good will always prevail. Of course, we do not know how many innocent people, children, women will be raped and murdered in the process. This is basically the most heartbreaking moment right now, where I feel we need to do everything what we can to minimize this time and amount of people. This is like where we work. But the fact is that I have no doubt that this army of hate, darkness, ignorance, inhumanity, this is on a way to decline. That's why I felt happy to just remind them that they are there and we are there.
Wow, yeah, amen. But we've seen the pictures and the disturbing videos from cities that have been freed from Russian army, from Bucha, from Irpin, Gostomel, and many others. And at the same time, we still don't know what is happening in Mariupol. At the same time, we don't know what is happening in other occupied cities. It is not just only war by bombings, but also war by soldiers who are actively killing civilians. And also with that, a new question arises, of course, about Russian symbolism in general, as those are soldiers wearing the Russian flags and occupying cities. They are hissing the Russian flags also on the buildings. And at the same time, people are going out in Ukrainian flags to protest, also very brave people to protest in front of the Russian army there. And so yet here in Germany, you sometimes see those symbols united in terms of Ukrainian flag and Russian flag. In terms of, yes, we want the peace of your nations, and you have a common past, and also something that is very often said, brotherly nations. What do you tell them?
This is a product of Russian propaganda. Everyone who knows a little bit of the history of Ukraine and Russia, they know that Russia was always trying to eliminate and enslave Ukrainian people. That they have artificially created Holodomor, so the starvation between two wars, world wars in 20th century. During the Second World War, Ukraine was hit the most by all the battles which were happening, and from all Soviet nations, proportionally per population, Ukrainian population had endured the most harm. And also, fun fact, in the very beginning of history, Kievska Rus, so the territory of Ukraine, was the founding one. It was multiple hundreds of years where there was just wood instead of Moscow and all the huge territory. So if you ever hear that Ukrainian nation does not exist, that it is some sub-product created by Stalin, Lenin, Putin, whatever, it is all BS. So take time, and you must realize it is not the product of Biden or someone else. Ukrainians are the nation, and that's why what's happening right now, we are not brothers. They are our killers. They are the fascists, and never put those two flags together, bound them with any dove and write peace. There is no peace. There is one who wants to kill us and us who try to save us. So if you want to be helpful, you need to realize that the situation is not okay and we cannot just become friends.
So a few Germans actually have compared that to showing the flag back then during Second World War of Nazi Germany and Poland, as you have one invader and one invaded country, which is very, very clear. right now. So you also talked about the Second World War. And then again, this is something that German politicians talk a lot about, is we vowed never again. And at the same time, we always saw kind of Russia as the country that was like the main one left after Soviet Union fell apart. And so we always thought about their losses, but we didn't really talk about Ukrainian army, Belarusian, Georgian, and other armies who were also part of that incredible fight back then to fight German fascism. And so, in question of history, where do you see Germany's position? Where is it right now? Where should it be? What do you wish, on one hand, from politicians, and then maybe to conclude, what do you wish the people who are seeing this right now, possibly being in Germany or other Western states or democratic states in general?
Well, I believe that the country which had been the cradle of the fascism in 20th century, which brought so much pain to the whole world and actually gave me a feeling that they have done the historical homework and they committed to the claim never again, that such country shall never be ally of any other terror country. And what we see right now, what is happening in Russia, it is a full fascism. What they are doing inside of their country is that they have completely become terror states, that people who protest with white piece of paper already get detained for days, that if you even use the word war in regard to situation in Ukraine, you go to jail, so they numb any opposition. They have their own propaganda and brainwashing starting from already school age, and that's what they are doing right now, committing these crimes against humanity in Ukraine, bringing all this destruction. They used some kind of imaginary reasons to invade. They even didn't need a real reason. They created it. This is very important. This is fascist country, and Germany is sponsoring it. We are sending almost €1 million every day to pay for Russian gas. We do choose to be the EU-level biggest blocker for any kind of weapon aid to Ukraine. We even commit to something. We say there are like 500 million euro assigned to help or weapon help, but then when you dig deeper and you ask what are they actually sending, it is absolutely not the things which Ukraine asks and needs for. So unfortunately, regardless of the speeches, we are, as Germany right now, in a very bad political situation. I do not speak about people who help and do incredible things. I speak about the position of the Chancellor Scholz. I speak about Lindner. I speak about Habeck. There is paragraph 89.c of Strafgesetzbuch, so Criminal Code of Germany, which says that terrorist financing is a criminal offense. What we are doing right now, sending money to Russia every day, disproportionately more than we give to help Ukraine with any kind of help, this is the fact. We are the biggest sponsor of the country which is a fascist of 21st century. This is not okay. And there are a lot of studies from people who understand how to transition from fossil fuels, how to cut dependencies on Russian oil and gas, which say that where there is political will, there will be a way, and that the losses of Russian gas would be such small percentages of German GDP, under 3%, that it would be less or comparable with COVID recession. So that's why the question to me and to all politicians, if such kind of loss of comfort is acceptable, given that you are stopping the genocide that can also come to the other countries.
So your demand is cut off all trade with Russia that is helping to sponsor the war machine right there, to help in military action also for Ukraine, to give them actually what they demand and what they're asking for. But at the same time, you're also promoting right here on Instagram to support Ukrainian voices and to make Ukrainian voices heard. And so for that, maybe for the last question, what do you wish yourself for your Ukrainian community, for the Ukrainian community here, and for the Ukrainian voices?
I wish that all of us feel their power and the need to use our voices. And I think it is true for Ukrainian people living outside, but also for people who might not be Ukrainians per blood, but who stay with Ukraine and feel strongly about what is the right thing to do right now. I know many people say, oh, Julia, I'm not sure if I shall record my message. I was not there, or nothing horrible happened to me. And I believe it is not the competition that only people with most horrible stories have the right to say something. No, we need to feel ourselves here as an information forces of Ukraine. We are paying taxes here. We have a right to choose our politicians. We have a right to demand that our countries do not spend our tax money on financing the war, that our countries will do everything to stay in solidarity, to protect stability, democracy, and peace in Ukraine, and hence in the whole world, because everything is interconnected. Situation in not only Europe, but also we know some tensions between China and Taiwan. We know the situation between Democrats and Republicans in the USA. So many eyes are watching. All the little dictators of this world are watching what will happen, because if Putin is not stopped right now, what signal will it send to the world? And how do you think we can keep living our amazing lives in our safe Western Europe if the Ukrainian nation will fall? It will not be the same. The only way for us is to now join hands and do together. We start with using our voice. We need to tell politicians that it is not okay to delay help. It is not okay to continue doing trade and sending money to Russia. We need to demand their right action. And that's why my vision for Voices of Ukraine is to inspire, to help us all realize we have the power, we have also responsibility to act and do everything what is possible to stop this war. And I invite you all to feel like I am. I don't know if I said, just I was born in Kiev, but the way how I feel right now and until the end of the war, if you ask me where I'm from, I am from Mariupol. And I believe we all should feel like we are from Mariupol right now.
Thank you.